Hi guys, I want to show you how I put together this phoenix image. I don't normally do quite so much photoshopping as I did in this image, but I felt it needed it to bring the character to life and get a bit more drama. So this is the image that I started with. And so this is what I call my raw canvas. I like to do all my hard work at the beginning of my edit. So here I put in the fire, the wings, and I got this to a point where it's my blank canvas. I could then just apply light and color effects to finish my edit. So I shot this with just one light, that's my normal lighting setup, one off-camera flash. I shot this on an 85mm, so I had no zoom. So I took 2 shots because I wanted enough detail on the model's face, but I didn't want to lose her too much. You know, I was a long way away from her, taking it on an 85mm, trying to get all the background in. So I took 2 shots rather than completely losing her and getting it all in one shot, because I would have just been so far away from her. And then in Photoshop, I just put the 2 images together. This image was taken on our photography workshops with Enchanted Evermore, so if you would like to come to one of our workshops, please check out our site at the link below. So let's break down what I did. So let's switch all of these layers off. So this was my background that I started with. So the first thing I did was add one of the wings. I found this online. It was an overlay and I loved it, but I just thought it was looking a little bit unreal. So I added some curves layers, some hue and saturation layers, just to kind of bring it down, make it a bit more fine art, a bit more subtle, make it a little bit more subtle and realistic. So then I did my second wing and I did the same process. First of all, I had to get rid of this softbox, but because I had the other image, I just laid the other image on top. It's a little bit wonky, you can see, but yeah, I just overlaid that part of the image. I did have to adjust the light slightly because I took one image with the softbox and one with natural light, so I did have to just adjust it slightly, but it was pretty easy to bring the 2 together. So then I added my second wing. I then applied the same adjustments with the hue and saturation and curves layers just to make it a little bit more realistic. There's an area here that I really didn't like on this overlay, this kind of greenish feather, so I had to correct that. I then brought in her legs and the floor from the other image, so again just had to do a little bit of adjustment. It didn't quite go because I wasn't using a tripod, so I took these just handheld and I'd moved a bit, so it didn't quite fit and it did take a bit of adjustment to do that. There were some bits of the floor that I didn't like and I found really distracting. I then added my fire just to give a bit more drama. I like a bit of drama in my pictures, so I added some fire again. These were overlays that I found online for free. And so I just gradually built all these layers up. I then played around with my opacity a little bit, trying to get a nice balance so it still looked quite realistic, or as realistic as an image like this can be. And I love using curves just to adjust light and just even out the light in my image. And so I went from there to there, and that was my sort of blank canvas that I started with before I did any of my edits. I mean, there was still a lot to do on this image at this stage, but it was just giving me my foundations that I could work on. I then did some expansion in Photoshop just because my image was very rectangular after I put the 2 photos together, so I did some expansion and I did some liquify to improve the perspective of my image and to emphasize the shapes within it. And I still need to sort this area here. There's some bits of the floor that are not right. But this gave me a good starting point. And I just zoomed in just to check that I hadn't done anything crazy when I'd blended the 2 pictures together, but I thought it looked okay. I've not to date noticed that I've done something wrong. So there. So I hope that shows you how you can really easily just put a couple of pictures together. This was literally made out of 2 pictures and a couple of overlays, and we've got quite a dramatic image. I then went on to do quite a lot of work in Photoshop still to give it light and colour adjustments. I did my skin correction for my model, my dodge and burn. So I still did quite a few stages after that. I think I added a bit more fire to just make it a bit more dramatic, because I think Phoenix needs to be a dramatic picture. I wanted to make the light around her more dramatic and darker. I also added some light overlays. So I brought some light coming in from the windows to frame the model. I also added some of my light overlays in this picture. You'll barely see them, but that's how I like to use them these days. They just add a bit of texture and light in the background, and I love to use them in that way. I'll put the link to them below, and there's a full training video with them showing how you can use them on a subtle way like I've done here, and in a more obvious way as well. I also added some effects in this image. I added some smoke, some more fire, and just tried to make it as dramatic as possible. So I hope you like it, and I hope that was helpful to show you how I put it together, and I would love to see what you do, so please do tag me if you create any images.